Hello and welcome to Purple Mafia. The Minnesota Vikings today lose to the Philadelphia Eagles at home, 28-22. Carson Wentz definitely had his ups and downs throughout the game. A couple of interceptions, including a pick six, which was absolutely killer, but certainly not at a point in the game you'd think it would be over. 313 yards and 42 attempts. Quarterback rating 64.9. Generally speaking, again, a average to below average performance by Carson Wentz, which is kind of what he is, an average quarterback, not the guy you're going to, have out there to take you to the promised land. And you're hoping that the guy that you drafted, hoping to take you to the promised land, will be back as soon as possible, and that the wait is over for that. So we got to see what we have from J.J. McCarthy. You get the idea. Jordan Mason ultimately did get in the end zone, but and Carson Wentz would have had a touchdown pass in this game. He ultimately did not. Had a potential touchdown to T.J. Hawkinson counted, but apparently that was nullified in a game where the officials, well, you could say they lacked a little consistency at times, especially on that particular call, but the refs were far from the reason why the Vikings lost this football game. Execution offensively, Carson Wentz missing, and of course the pick six. Jordan Mason, again, did get in the end zone at one point, but did only average 3.8 a carry. Not that bad, but certainly nothing special. Jordan Addison, spectacular overall performance. 9 catches on 12 targets. Again, Carson Wentz missing a bit. Justin Jefferson, Carson Wentz missed quite a bit. 10 targets, only 5 catches for 79 yards, and no touchdowns for either player, unfortunately, which was very frustrating. If there has to be a player of the game, it's Will Reichert. He did hit a 59-yarder in the game to kind of get the Vikings on the board finally. And ultimately the Vikings, well, they got 5 kicks, 5 attempts, 5 made by Will Reichert. But red zone defense, red zone offense, crap. Especially the red zone offense anyway was crap. The general Vikings defense, when you need to make the big play, you need to make the tackle, it just wasn't there. The play never came. The turnover never came. The forced fumble, the interception, it just never came. The sack, it just never came. Now, Jalen Hurts was sacked 3 times in the game, but in those big moments down the stretch when you have a chance to, turn the tide of the game, that play just never seemed to come. That big play never seemed to come. Jalen Hurts officially had a perfect quarterback rating, 158.3. That's how great the Vikings defense was today. Jalen Hurts had a perfect quarterback rating. Perfect. Yeah. 3 touchdowns thrown, 326 yards overall in the air on only 23 attempts. It's insane. What is it, like 19 yards an attempt? So tells you how great this defense is. The Vikings defense did focus heavily on Saquon Barkley, and the run game hasn't really worked all season for the Philadelphia Eagles. So whatever. The passing game certainly worked, so I'm not sure the strategy was all that great for the Minnesota Vikings defense, and generally speaking, it was dog crap. Again, the big play never seemed to come, and that was the big frustration for myself, generally speaking. Player of the game clearly for the Vikings would be Mr. Will Reichert. I already said that. The other side of things, you could call it the Christian Ponder Memorial, which we'll talk about on the Purple Mafia show on the podcast. I'm not even sure where we're going with that one. It could go all around, defensively, offensively. It could be Carson Wentz, but I don't know. I think the defense was even worse because the defensive plays never came. It just never came. The big defensive stop just seemed to never come, and they got schooled as well. Outcoached, outplayed, out-schemed, out this, out, everything out. Outplayed, generally speaking. I've said that 6 times already, and that's kind of the feeling in this one. So check out the Purple Mafia podcast on your favorite podcasting app. That'll be a more detailed conversation here in the video. We like to kind of have an immediate reaction, and wouldn't mind hearing your comments. Thank you for the compliment about the hat. I love it. It's a Mitchell and Ness. I'm not going to take it off. You can maybe guess why I'm not going to take it off, but I will not take it off. It is Mitchell Ness, just so you know, and that's a free plug for them, I guess. So if that's where you're wondering, where can I get that hat? Well, that's where. And when I saw this hat, I was like, that's a go. That's a go. I'm not going to wear some other team like the Atlanta Flames or anything like that. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And my Viking hat was very outdated, and it looks kind of funny. So this one is perfect. It could be like Bud Grant era, and it could be today. All right, I've babbled enough about that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, check out the podcast, and also please subscribe. Please subscribe to this page if you could. Please do subscribe, and tell your friends to as well. Share the videos. Thank you, and we will be back next week when the Vikings kick off against the Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday.